Screen up. Bloop. It's me. Hey.
Do you have our silly pictures in there too?
Yeah. Well, the ones that were last time. You can give me different pictures if you want.
I would love to do that because
I mean, like, for the next time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just the picture that's of me is I'm playing a game that I don't love.
Oh, that makes it even better.
Right.
Oh, I put the wrong.
All right. How do you feel about running the rank is right?
I was wondering if you want me to do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing to fall back on.
Okay, just give me a sec because you
some
can't
random
always
games.
go like random, because you get
I'll trade with you. You get this time, and I'll do.
That's
next
fine.
time.
And I've got my game show for when I'm next.
Haha. Yeah, let me go on here and just randomize a bunch. Oh man, just the games I get. Wait, am I looking in the wrong? Where?
Oh, this is yours.
All right, I gotta look at a regular game because I feel like sometimes with the new okay, cool, with the way that because if you get a bunch of unranked games, like it just doesn't show a rank. So I'm like, wait, where's the rank again? Like I got this games like Operation Dandelion and like High School Musical Uno, and none of them are ranked. Monopoly Ronald Dahl edition. I don't think. By the way, Zach's. Yeah, that's it. I don't think Cindy's been like
a lot of kids' books
up against the microphone really. We're still
no,
like
she has been. She's a little further away than she has been.
Yeah. Well, in other words, we're not like fully set up per se yet.
Yeah.
Finally, after freaking forever, I finally get a game with a rank. Yeah, I'm just going through like nope. This is the downside. There was a Batman Returns 3D board game?
You didn't know that? Actually, I think
Rusty Beetle said
the table did that.
In the chat room, he says, "Wait until she laughs."
That's a weird laugh. Sounds like SpongeBob.
It really sounded like Fran Dresser.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, now I have the mic on my face.
All right, I got 3 games so far. The game that I could put together in just like 5 minutes. For those in the chat room, we had some issues with the game that we were going to be doing. So we had to kind of put together a game show at the very last minute, and that's what the Rank is Right is best for.
Yeah, we're missing Philip, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Collin planned a game show that relies on Philip.
It was one of those game shows that could deal with board games.
Yeah.
What Philip could participate in.
Yeah. All right. Yep, I got 5 games. That'll be good enough. All right.
Zach was surprised I was quiet. It was preemptively low. No, sorry. I'm just now seeing the chat. That's funny.
Okay. Y'all ready for this?
Yes.
So how are we coming through for you? Or is Cindy's volume all right now? Like,
yeah.
Because she's a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, I'm sitting like with the mic on my face, basically.
That sounds fine.
Just make sure you talk past the mic.
Yes, I will.
I've actually heard a lot of people say if you talk past the mic, it's better. Like if you put the mic at
she was just like she was turned away from the mic.
If you're talking like this.
Well, I mean, I was right up on the mic still. But...
I still want to get cardboard cutouts. That would be super creepy, and Ashley would probably like leave me. They'd be or
like a kind of weekend at Bernie's thing, like set up some string system.
no,
to
I
raise
wouldn't
the
do
hands
that.
and
I would
stuff.
just have like, you know what I could do? I could just get some yardsticks and just print out your pictures and put them on that. Ashley would just get me a straight jacket.
Yeah, cut out the middleman.
He's officially lost it. Okay, I'm ready to get started. We ready to go?
Yes.
I'm good.
Okay, show starts in 3, 2, 1. This podcast is helped out a lot by you guys and you all that have gone to patreon.com/boardsandSwords and helped us out. Live from Swordplay Studios in my Pokeball pajamas, it's Boards and Swords. Woohoo! Woo!
Pokeball pajamas.
I choose you.
See, that's it. If you're not
Host
watching
the show,
if you're not watching the video, you didn't see me strain to lift my leg above the table to show him off.
that's your secret move.
Yeah. No, I felt
Show that to the masses.
I felt that in the groin area. Like I felt those muscles pulling tight. That's how unflexible I am. Hey everybody, welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast where we have fun talking about board games. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Chris Renshaw, and on the line we've also got Collin and Cindy.
Hello, this is Collin.
Hello, it's Cindy.
I love how like you get your voice, but then like suddenly it sounded like hello, it's Cindy.
Because she wasn't looking at the mic again.
Sorry. Hello, it's Cindy.
She's Instagram storying right now.
I'm storying that we're going live, okay?
You
With
know,
a
you
chat.
could do that like before we go live instead of like in the middle of the show live.
No, it's that live. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
live.
live. Instead of like pre-live or after live. Or is that
She's
just
writing
dead?
a book with this post. She could just put "We're live." And,
Meanwhile, we just let let the music fade
We're
out.
done, okay?
There you go. He was waiting on you. It was all you.
yeah, we needed proper introductions where you could hear voices.
Yeah, there you go. So we're gonna mix. We're kind of moving stuff around right now. So I'm just gonna say before we get into anything else, let's find out what you missed the past couple of weeks in news. Alrighty, everybody. I was kind of hoping Philip be here for some of these too, but that's right. Philip's not here this week again. You know, if we don't force him to be here, he just doesn't have the energy, or he just doesn't have the effort to be in here. That's right. We got people in the chat. Matthew's saying we're live, the saga, as opposed to they live. I mean, they live. Anyways,
They live.
like the movie.
Is that a zombie movie?
No, the movie is what's it? The one that's like I came here to kick butt and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
That
I don't know.
that's a
that.
movie called They Live.
Isn't it? Am I
I don't
wrong on
know, I
that
never
one?
knew. You might
have
be.
no
You
idea
might
what
be
you're
right.
talking
You
about.
might be wrong. I think there's a song in there.
Yes. All right. I'm right. It's called They Live.
All right.
Anyways, you guys are crazy. All right, let's talk about some actual news. There'll probably be somebody in the chat room that'll help me out here in a second. But start off, come on. You know, I can't go news without talking about come on. They released
No,
a
you
set
can't.
of solo rules for Arcadia Quest.
Oh, did they?
Mm.
If you want to download the rules and also like they're asking for feedback on how it went, you can find everything by going over to their website. I tried. I had a hard time finding it though. Like I searched all over Kickstarter and couldn't find it anywhere. Really? Nothing. I said it's on their website. I searched over Kickstarter and couldn't find it.
No, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Come on. Nothing.
Oh,
Hey, look, he
'cause
worked in the
Kickstarter's-
publisher name there.
Because Kickstarter is how they do a lot of their things. Okay.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
Okay.
Womp,
It's funny
womp.
now that we've explained the joke.
Sorry. no, you said their website, and I'm like, okay, thinkingcmon.com. Sure, okay. Didn't even.
Anyways, that means the rest of these are probably going to be terrible.
See, this is what happens when I don't punctuate it with a sound bite. It just doesn't sound funny.
Well, that's the thing is I didn't hear a soundbite, so I'm like, did nobody get it?
I got told last time. It was like, oh, if I'm gonna try it,
I said you didn't have to
think we
do
know now.
everyone as a soundbite. That was all.
Oh. Well, I didn't do one, and I don't know. We'll see how the next one goes.
Well, in I'm gonna probably get the. All right, help me out here. Is it Fuderlenspiel? Did I get that right?
Sounds good.
Fuderlenspiel?
You sound German enough.
Okay. Fuderlenspiel now has the rights back from Z-Man Games for many of its titles, including the popular kind of civilization territory-ish building games Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. In fact, these two games will now be distributed in the U.S. from Capstone Games.
Right.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, the next time that Z-Man Games publishes their tax write-offs, will that make Terra Mystica a social deduction game?
Wait, what?
To figure out who the real publisher is?
Not meaning like they've deducted it off their taxes because they don't
right.
own it anymore.
Oh. I'm sorry. I just don't know.
Everyone's like, Cindy's still really quiet. No, she's just not up to the microphone yet, probably.
I am.
Okay.
I'm sitting right
yes,
at it.
now, but like before when you were failing at
her up.
getting my jokes. All right, whatever. Roxley Games. Let's talk Roxley Games.
Okay.
They've launched Steampunk Rally Fusion on Kickstarter, a standalone sequel to the original Steampunk Rally.
Okay.
By the time that this episode comes out, you'll only have like a couple of days left to back this, but it's a deluxe version of the game that includes like pretty dice and like super these little metal cogs. It's got some new mechanics, some new versions of dice, while still retaining that core gameplay of the original Steampunk Rally. Ultimately, I decided I'm not going to back the game.
Wait, what? You changed your mind?
Because I
I
already did back the game. I'm not going to back it because I already did back it.
Oh my gosh. Lame.
Was that the joke?
Yes.
That was lame.
Whatever. You guys are crazy.
You're crazy.
Here, I got a Kickstarter that you guys care about. Lone Sharks Games launched a 10th anniversary version of Lords of Vegas on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
Not only can you get the base game and the Up expansion for this casino building game, but there is a new Underworld expansion. I'm assuming this one hasn't been published yet, based on what I read.
It's new.
Okay. That you can get now as well. In fact, you can only get, like, if all you care about is the Underworld expansion, you can get just that.
Mm-hmm.
Like us.
Yeah. Oh, are you not getting the whole thing?
We decided
we
decided we're not going to back it because we already did.
See, the trick is you're not going to back it.
No, we already own the base game.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to get that boss bundle version.
Nah.
It would be nice. Like I just saw on an update.
Have poker chips for
I just saw on an update that they're going to be doing a big, like, I don't know if it's neoprene. They say polyester, but with a rubber backing for the board.
Oh, that would be nice.
So
Can we get that as an add-on?
Might add that on.
So,
add that on?
Which anniversary is the 10-year anniversary again? Because I didn't realize it was the Look No More Paper Money anniversary.
It's aluminum.
Of course you would know that.
Aluminum. Well, I only know that because Colin's parents asked us, so I looked it up. We just celebrated. We literally just celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
I know, that's why I
Friday.
said, of course you know this, because I knew that you had just celebrated.
At least I'm pretty sure it's aluminum.
Did you even hear the punchline on that one?
As No More Paper Money.
Yeah.
It was great.
But Cindy was talking, so I didn't know if she heard it.
It's okay.
I'm
I'll adjust the
sorry.
audio.
We're almost done here. All right, bear with me.
Sorry.
So the op, they announced that they're working with Games Workshop on a Warhammer 40K version of Risk. As soon as I saw
right,
this,
yeah.
I was like, this has to go in the news. You know, from the same people that brought you Warhammer 40K Monopoly, this collision of two gaming properties will hit shelves this fall. Anybody else think that this game is going to be bad?
Yes.
Because think about it. No one's going to want to play the side with horses and cannons.
What?
My sound bites aren't triggering for some reason. I'm trying to actually trigger them.
He is. I'm watching him.
Yeah, okay. It just makes it even worse. That's all.
Yeah.
I didn't get it though. What? That,
Of course you
what was
didn't
the
get it.
joke? I'm sorry.
It's a mashup of Warhammer 40K and Risk, and I said no one's going to want to play the side with the horses and cannons like what's in Risk when you've got the Space Marines.
Oh, is that what Warhammer 40K is?
Oh my god. All right,
I
good
don't
night
know.
everybody. All right, I'm done here.
I don't know. I know nothing about 40K.
Philip's
Warhammer
missing, so
40K.
Cindy's filling in.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it other than it's a minis game. That's all I know.
Somebody in the chat room needs to tell me if they at least found some of these moderately funny.
I thought a couple of them were kind of on point.
That's all
Sorry,
I
I
get.
talked over your paper thing because that one was
Yeah, the
funny.
paper money one was good. I didn't have the opportunity to laugh at it though.
Why don't you guys tell me about something you've been playing while I just like recall from the you know, that embarrassment.
Oh, recover. Yeah.
Recover.
What
what games?
Last night. What? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying what games, what cool stuff you've been doing.
Last night we played Carson City.
We'd had it sitting on the table waiting to be played for several days and
Yes.
just see it staring at us.
Yes.
You ever have that? Like you set a game out intending to play it and it's just, hey, what you guys doing?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was Gloomhaven for
Anyway.
a while here.
Yeah, so we played Carson City again last night, and we decided to use both the bandits and the horses variants in the game. And the bandits, of course, decided two of them wanted to come for my mines. Go figure, whatever. But during the last round, I decided I was gonna duel both the bandits to try and get rid of them so I could get my income back from my, or all of my income from my mines. And I had a few gun tokens on my own. I got the three gun token chip, and then I kept a couple guys back to use as firepower, and I used dynamite, so I was able to roll 2 dice. They were the strongest bandits, so I had to roll at least a 13. That first one I rolled, and my total firepower was like 20. But then the second time I rolled 12. I rolled 12 out of the 13 I needed. I was so mad. I'm like, are you kidding me? And the previous round, I also tried to fight that same bandit, and I rolled 1 less for that one also. I'm like, it wouldn't be so bad if I didn't have to, like, if I wasn't just 1 away. But I was 1 away twice. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, you know what the kicker is? I just had the realization if you had beaten that bandit, you would have won.
Because it would have given me that 5 extra points I needed to beat you.
And extra money. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would have had extra money. Oh, I would have won by way more than 3 points or 5 points. Yeah, Collin won by 3 points. I think 4
Yeah.
points. It's 4.
that happened to me, and we played Wingspan one more time yesterday. And Ashley's last move is what put her like the 3 points over me to end up winning the game. And she had started doing one that's like, no, wait, I'm going to do this instead. And that other thing she did ended up getting her the like 5 points she needed to be ahead of me.
Nice.
Yeah. I actually, maybe that time that I let you take back a move is what won you the game.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Maybe. I don't know. But I can't ever tell him no, he can't take something back because I do it all the time.
For every 10 I give her, I get half of 1.
Oh, the take backs.
So yeah, for every
Yeah.
20, I get one.
It's a 20 for 1. There's an exchange rate going on here. Didn't you know that?
Yes, that was funny but annoying at the same time.
We also
But it's always a good time playing Carson City.
played Codenames over FaceTime with
Oh, yeah.
Cindy's parents the other
Oh my
day.
gosh.
Oh, nice.
That-
It was fun. I enjoyed playing a game with my parents because, obviously we're physically distancing ourselves, and so they enjoy playing games like that with us. But it was not the easiest thing to do.
setting it up.
Setting it up, yeah. Because I really wanted to be able to see my parents and have them see us, but also see the cards. But for some reason, we had FaceTime on both my iPad with my username stuff, and then Colin had it on his phone, and we had his phone hooked up, so it was kind of like on a
Yeah,
it was
like
an overhead
it was the
cam.
board.
It was an overhead camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had that showing the cards, and then we had the iPad facing on us. But for some reason, the two devices, even though Colin's phone was completely muted, it was feeding back. And
we found out when you're doing FaceTime, you can't, at least I don't think you can totally mute. Like I turned the volume all the way down, but it stayed with like a little bit of volume.
and I guess having the two devices close together, it was that wah 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 wah
Yeah.
wah noise. Oh my gosh, it was so annoying. So we
Isn't there
just
a
shut off
mute-
the
like-
iPad.
I thought in FaceTime,
I don't know if-
there's like
I
a
don't
there's
know
like
if it
a
exists in
software
FaceTime.
mute thing.
I don't know. I didn't dig that deep into it. But so anyway,
There was a lot of yelling going on, so we just decided to end the call.
my parents couldn't see us is all it was, but we still had fun, and we actually got to play 3 rounds because the second round my mom guessed the assassin on our first clue. I said I don't even remember what it was now, but yeah, the second word she guessed was the assassin card. I'm like, well, we're done.
Oh, that was
So-
easy.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. Colin and my dad technically won 2 games because of the instant win that my mom gave.
Instant win.
So it was
Instant
fun,
kill.
though. Yeah, it was good. We enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, not much going on gaming wise, actually.
I think
We've
Ashley's
been
getting to
playing
the
a little
point. She's like, I think Ashley's to the point where she's like, I need you to have somebody else that you could play review games with.
Aw. Yeah.
Because
Well, she's not as into them as
well,
you are, so.
her biggest issue is she doesn't like learning new games. She
I
wants
have
to
that issue too.
because learning
It's
is
it takes up a lot of energy.
it takes up a lot of energy learning stuff. She'd rather just keep playing the same one she already knows how to play, which she was fine. We'll get to the Wingspan piece. We'll get to but like when we finished playing Wingspan, I just made a joke. I was like, all right, time to go to the next review game. And she just gave me this death glare in my eyes. I was like, okay, maybe not.
Aw. I kind of understand though. Like, I mean, obviously I'm a big
Oh no, I
board
totally
gamer, so-
understand.
yeah, and so I do learn new games, but I would most often would much rather just play things I already know
Yeah.
because it's just so much simpler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy learning new games eventually once I get over the hurdle of actually
We
learning
actually
it,
said this to we had someone over that we hadn't had over before to play games, and we played Isle of Skye twice in a row with him. And I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
you should consider this a real honor. We hardly ever played the same game twice.
At least twice in a row is what
Right.
Colin means.
Yeah, because Isle of Skye is one of those that I could just keep playing.
It is a very good game.
Yeah. I have to have like if I'm playing with those types of people, I have to have at least taught them like, or they have to know like a couple games that I like, because I just can't keep playing the same like 2 games like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
okay, if
Oh,
we
I
make it a
get that.
cadre of like 5, then that gives me enough variation that I'm not going to get tired of any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to play games like back to back to back usually. Unless it's something quick like a Code Names or
Right.
some sort of party game type thing
Some
like that.
15-minute game.
Yeah, it's just real quick.
Roll and
Move
writes are
through.
good for that.
They are, yeah. But yeah, it's hard when we have our shelf of opportunity downstairs and I just want to play Like I want to learn them, absolutely, especially because there's some really good games on there that I have played before, just not my own copy. But I'd rather just play the games I already know.
Oh yeah, you
sometimes.
reminded me. We played Steam Park.
Oh, we did play Steam Park.
Yeah,
That was actually really good.
that was fun. That was another real-time dice rolling game.
You probably wouldn't like it, Chris, because of that.
I was interested in the theme when I saw it. Like it was one of those like, ooh, that's a neat idea. But yeah, knowing what I know now.
Well, it's like half real-time dice rolling. Like you roll, and there's like a race to grab certain placements.
It's not the end of the world if you don't you don't have to be first to finish rolling necessarily.
Right.
Because there's almost always something you can do with whatever dice you do end up having face.
That's kind of how Steampunk Rally is for me. Like it's real time, but at the sense of everybody's just doing all their real time in the sense of everybody's doing their turns all at the same time. That sort of sense.
Yeah, no, this is a little bit. It is kind of a race to finish, to get your dice faces to how you want them, to then grab a thing to determine player order for that round.
Right.
But generally, I mean, like I said, it's not the end of the world if your dice don't end up on a face that you are going for it, because you could still do something. Most often, there is a blank side though.
Right. So we set out on. We finally got around to playing the end of the Path of Carcosa for Arkham Horror.
Oh yeah,
and
you played Monday, right?
Yeah, we played Monday. And it's one of those things where it's kind of glad that we're playing on Tabletop Simulator, because it got to like 10 o'clock and we're like, man, we still have like a long potential ways to go here. So you could just kind of like hit pause and save and then just reload it on another date.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. But it's one of those like, we fit like when I closed the server and everything, it was just like we're all looking at each other like, you know, we're not done yet, but I don't see how we're gonna win this one.
Oh no. Were you playing over Discord with each other, or?
Yeah, well, playing on we usually either depends on how people's internet is. If internet's shaky, we'll do just a phone call.
Okay.
Just so that, because the problem is like one of the people, or people's internet will go out a bunch. Like I was playing with Corey and Jimmy, and they were having issues with their router, so like they'd just like keep crashing out of the game, and that way we'd have like a line of communication outside that, so that'd be like, hold up, our thing crashed, we'll be right back, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and not dependent on the actual game.
Right. I think every time Colin's played on Tabletop Simulator, he's gotten on Discord with the people he's playing with, and because ours has crashed several times on him too.
Yeah, I've just been using. We used Zoom the other night just because I have the paid version for now. But yeah, otherwise I'd probably use Discord.
Cool.
But it was one of those like. I think it was Corey that was just like, okay, so next time, do we just want to start over? And me and Mike are like, I don't know what else we could do differently. Like it's not like we were it's not like we were just making mistakes. It was just like a bunch of nonsense. I said it was like the only way that this could go better is just luck of the cards, like just whatever the randomized order just happened to get better versus the previous time. I was like, that would be the only thing about playing it again.
So do you think it's a scenario that sets you up to fail?
We're playing Arkham Horror, right?
Well, yeah, okay, fine. That was a dumb question then.
Well, what was the phrase? It's Arkham Horror. I forget what it was.
Oh, you're talking about like ba-da-ba-ba-ba, that's Arkham Horror.
Yeah, there it is.
So
a retheme.
So I found out one thing is that we've been playing on standard, and a lot of the people that I know that play Arkham Horror, the LCG, a lot, the first time through they actually play on easy, which changes your dice bag, or not dice bag, the token bag. It changes what goes into there. And I'm like,
the -4, is that in there?
Dude, we have like minus
with
fives.
the easy.
Oh, I don't know about.
Oof.
I don't know about at the easy, but yeah, we have like up to like -5.
Goodness.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And then there was like, yeah, it was crazy. Like there were some really interesting concepts, and there was some like, again, it took like a central mechanic. Like, here's what you know about this game. Now I'm gonna flip it on its head a little bit. So it was fun, but it was definitely like it was fun after the fact. It was definitely frustrating during the fact.
I could imagine that.
It's one of those stories you laugh about afterwards.
Yeah. So who knows how that's gonna go, but whatever. Yeah, and it was just Philip is here because I was gonna talk about our Star Wars game. But
you've played
the RPG. The Star Wars RPG.
Okay.
I won't go into full detail, but I'll just mention this one piece out of the night that was great. So we're playing a bunch, like a ragtag group that is having to do a bunch of odd jobs because this item we were supposed to deliver to the huts got stolen, and now we're trying to like do these jobs so they don't kill us. And of course, we get like double, triple, quadruple crossed or whatever, and so it's a chase scene. Like we're leaving this compound, and we've got like a bunch of guys on our tail, because Mike, our GM, is actually like he's really awesome in that he gets people's character sheets to see like what they're focusing on, and then he'll kind of plan events, or he'll plan like sessions and encounters to help people shine in what they're doing best. So
that's really
nice.
Cool.
Like my character's like the driver, like their backstory is like they were a rally driver and all this kind of thing. So unlike most of Star Wars that has speeders, like I have basically, if you've ever played Halo, it's like a warthog kind of thing, just minus the gun.
Oh, that's not as good.
Well, I mean, we just got windows that people are shooting out of, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But so we're racing down this thing, and Mike's describing the scene, and so it's like we're basically going down a highway. I'm driving, so I'm doing super well on dice rolls and checking out, and all of a sudden, or the one of the other people that are doing the turns, because sometimes when you're doing a driving kind of scenario, everybody's like, well, what do I do? I'm just sitting in the car. So one person's like, I'm going to analyze the speeders that are chasing us so that we could try and find like a weakness or something that we can use to take them out. And Mike goes on to describe the speeders, and he starts really emphasizing how they're not like the most expensive speeders. In fact, they're kind of shabby. And all of a sudden I just start laughing. And I can see as I start laughing, I can see Mike nodding his head like, yeah, he got it. Everybody else, it takes them a minute. I just start laughing because I realize we're driving this monster tank and we're being chased by a bunch of ragtag speeders. So I just start doing all sorts of things like hitting the brakes so they just run into me, and just falling out behind them and just ramming them kind of thing. Cause I just realized oh, I'm in a tank basically, and I'm being chased by sedans.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was
picture. You got me thinking about when you're in battle and you get the tank and you need to propel yourself.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Beautiful thing.
And the best part not the best part, but the messed up part is at least Philip didn't get to hear that part. He came in because he works late on Fridays, so he came in towards the end or about halfway. So he got to miss that whole me realizing that what the position we were actually in was.
Oh my, that's funny though.
All right, and with that, let's go into some reviews. We got a couple of reviews. You want to talk Miyabi first? Miyabi? Miyabi, that's right. I'm dumb.
That's okay.
Yeah, so Miyabi we got at PAX Unplugged from HABA, and it is a game. It's a tile laying game. It's got some polyomino type things. Flip this over. I got the box right here. It's right here. So this game, you're building up gardens, like Japanese gardens, and there's different kinds of plants. And in a round, there's going to be a certain amount of tiles in the middle, and each player is going to be taking 6 of those tiles over the course of a round. And where you place them on your board, there you have lanterns going across the columns, and each row has a type of plant that can go in that row. And so when you place a tile, depending on what kind of plant is on the tile, it has to go in this specific row.
Or feature, because there are koi ponds too.
Okay, yeah. Yes, you're right. But it has to go in that specific row. And whatever column it goes in, you put your lantern on the board to mark that you can't place in that column anymore this round. And so you're going to have to strategize based on what tiles come out and how you want to lay them. A cool thing about this, though, is you're not just laying flat in this game, you're building up. So you're trying to build up higher, because what you're doing to get points, the number of items that are on the tile itself is going to give you points based on where they are in your garden. So if there's 3 koi fish in the pond on the tile, you'll get 3 points if it's on the first layer. If it's on the second layer, you'll get 6, and 9 if it's on the third. It just multiplies depending on what level it's on. And also, if you build up to the 5th tier on a feature, if you're the first one to do that, you'll get a bonus amount of points. And so you're getting points on every turn. Unless you can't play something, then you're just out for the round. I think that's only happened to us once.
Yeah, and it was at the end of the game when that finally happened.
Yeah, you're getting kind of tight at the end of the game. So that is the general overview. The end game scoring, you go based off of who has the most of each individual kind of feature or plant in a row. So whoever has the most will get like a certain amount of points. Second most will get a lower amount of points. You go all the way down, and that is the basic game scoring. There are also 5 extra little expansion modules in the box. And so if you want it to be a more complex game, you can add those in. And you can really turn this into a think fest if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if you add all the modules in one game.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a terrible thing, but
No.
I probably wouldn't play with the frog again unless I was like in a really wanting a crunchy game experience.
Oh, true. Yeah,
The rest of
frog
them
screwed me up.
Yeah, the rest of them are pretty good. So the first module that you can add in gives you points for your largest continuous group of items on your board they're not split up by empty spaces or what have you. Yeah. And then there is the second one gives you points for your biggest grass area that you have in your thing. The third one I think is what was the third one? I think it's rows of 7, or was that module 4? I think it's
don't
module
remember.
4.
I think that was module 4 though. I'm blanking on what 3 was.
But anyway. It's the there's like special tiles. If you fully surround them, it gives you points based on how many
tiles.
Zen tiles. Thank you. It's based on how many items are around that object when it's fully surrounded. And those you can only put on the ground floor. So you have to plan if you want to get one of those. And then there's the one that at the end of game for each row and column, you get
exactly
7 items in a row or column. You'll get 7 points. So you could get up to a lot of points.
Yeah.
42 and 42 because it's 6 by 6. So 84 points if you were like perfect on that.
Nice.
I think Cindy's trying to crunch the math.
No, I'm trying to remember if 7 points is how much you get.
It's 7, yeah.
Okay.
It's 7 for 7. I remember that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's the last one is a frog. It is moving around, and it doesn't get you that many points. I think it's more so just to get in your way.
Oh my gosh, did it get in my way?
Because it can't go on top of features on tiles until it gets to level 5, I think.
Yeah.
And until then, like
Or 4.
you can move it. Oh, it might be 4. Yeah, I think you're right. You can move it up a level and move it around, and you get 8 points if you move it to the on top of the first layer, 2 points if you move it on top of the second, and so on. And it can only move laterally or up, and you can't lay on top of it. You can't go on top of features. So it's you're trying to figure out where you need to move this thing to get it out of your way.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
So anyway, yeah, if I'm wanting to play this game with just Cindy and me, and we're wanting just a relaxing game, I'd probably play with 4 of the modules. Just leave out the frog, because once you know the game, this is like a 20-minute game, but it's one of those 20-minute games that feels like you played an hour game. Like I'm not.
You look at the clock and you're like, wow, it's only been 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's it feels like you got a really big game experience in just 20 to 30 minutes.
Gotcha.
So that I love that. The Circle the Wagons gives me that, and it's like it's a 5-minute game, but it feels like, you know, a 25-minute game experience crammed into that 5 minutes. And Kingdom Builder, Montana, those are more games that just give me that big game, short time experience.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Like all your favorite games.
Well, there's reasons why they're my favorites, but yeah, this it's a really good game.
It is a very good game.
And you're making a Zen garden sort of thing, and it's a very Zen experience. But at the same time, you're like, which tile do I want?
Yeah.
But yeah, considering you can basically adjust the difficulty on the game, it's really cool, because you just leave all the modules out and have it be really basic scoring, or you can add stuff in. The first time we played this, I immediately threw in the first module. It said, your biggest connected group of objects you get points for. So for us, that seemed like a given. That should be something that should be in the game. I think that's cool. It's like you can read through the expansions and see, like, yeah, I play a lot of games that have this kind of feature in them. I want it in my game, so I'm going to play with this.
Yeah, it's a game that you can definitely tailor to the people that are playing it. That's for sure. Which I think is fantastic, because it's definitely a game that's open to most anybody, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very colorful game too.
It is. Yeah, each of the different shape tiles, there's shapes and sizes that vary, and there's 4 different types of tile, size, shape, whatever. And they're each different colors based on what the tile type is. And that's really pretty. And then you get the actual the features, the objects, they're all different. Well, like the cherry blossoms are all the same, and the koi fish are all the same, that kind of thing, but they're all different, and they're just so beautiful. This game is very soothing to look at, that's for sure.
It's very
and the 3D effect.
The cover looks very vibrant, lots of popping colors. I pulled up a picture to help me look, because I found that just listening was a little hard. It's a little hard when you hear just audio sometimes, having a picture to see like, oh, this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's funny, the board, actually, the way you were describing some of the scoring, it's not saying it's the same thing. It just reminded me a little bit of the Minecraft Builders and Biomes game we were playing, because it's like a 3x3 grid, and there's different scoring round type things where it's based on different aspects of the individual tiles that you lay. But
cool.
Yeah, I really like the 3D effect of this too.
Yeah.
That you're, it looks like one of those, is it topographical maps? Is that
yeah.
It's so cool. Just, you can kind of put your head down on the table and just look at what you've created, and it's so neat.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the back of the box right now, and I because HABA makes a lot of kids games. You know how traditionally there's a lot of games that say not suitable for children under 3 years. This one says not suitable for children under 36 months.
Oh, same thing, just
Yeah.
worded differently. Probably because it's German.
Well, I was thinking because they deal a lot with specific ages.
Oh, maybe.
Like you got your 2-year-olds, your 2.5-year-olds,
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
however many months.
Your kid
that
can play
is.
this as long as he won't swallow the pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't play with the frog if you have small children.
But yeah, so Miyabi, for me, it gets 2. If I had a third thumb, it would get a 2.5 thumbs up for me. It is
You're throwing off the
going
whole
pretty
scale
high.
here.
Spoiler alert for those who are part of our Patreon, but this is coming up in my next set of top games. So that's how much
Oh.
I like it.
Ooh.
Well, for them, it'll be. Wait. Was this in the one we already did that hasn't been released yet?
No.
Okay.
It's in one we haven't recorded.
Okay.
yet.
So it'll be 2 episodes for those patrons. Hopefully,
Yeah,
next one by
sure.
the time they hear this.
Yeah.
Because I've been behind on getting those out. And
Yeah, so I obviously I like Miyabi enough that it's in my top 50
nice.
already.
But yeah,
Cool.
Miyabi's a good game.
Any other thoughts? Cool.
I
I'm
can't
gonna
think of any.
next. So we're gonna talk about a game that we've already talked about some, but most people are probably tired of hearing about it. But I had not played Wingspan.
That's
So-
right.
I had heard about it. I was of the opinion that I was sure it was probably a good game, but I was not in need of going through the hype and the rush to get a copy just to specifically play it. I was one of those, I'll wait, I'll play it eventually. People I know, like I knew you guys had it, so it's like I'll get it at some point. But then I got the offer because they had just done like a fresh new print run, chance to review it, and I'm like, well, and this was like as we were going into lockdown, so for Corona, so it was like, yeah, it's probably a good time for that. Yeah, let's do that. So
Nice.
if you're like me and you're the like 1% of people that had not played Wingspan before.
I think there's more than 1%, but
Yeah.
I get what you're doing.
Then Wingspan is a very light engine building game where everybody's got a little board that has their Avery, and of course this has the classic Stonemaier production, so everything's beautiful. And
Oh,
you
gosh,
have
yes. Elizabeth Hargrave. No, Beth Sobel.
Beth Sobel's the artwork. Elizabeth Hargrave did the design.
She did the design.
Well,
and
Beth Sobel really is the well-known name. Actually, the
Natalie
cards are done
Rojas.
by the other artists.
yeah,
Right.
there's
That's
Natalie-
right. I thought there was a third
and
one
so-
in there.
I can't think of the other lady's name at the moment.
Well, you could look it up while I explain.
Sure.
And in your aviary, you have 3 different types of environments. You've got a forest, you've got a plain, and you've got like water or wetlands kind of thing. And there's huge stacks of cards, and there's not any repeats. It's just like, I don't remember the exact number, just hundreds or tens of whatever, a whole stack of different real life birds, complete with their Latin names and everything. And each card has like a special power on it per se. And
Yeah.
you can, on your turn, you can take one of 4 actions. Basically, you can either play a bird in your aviary, or you can get resources that you'll need to play them, make eggs that you might need to play some of the higher up birds, or you can get more bird cards into your hand so that you could potentially play them onto your board. And by playing the birds into those 3 different areas, you can upgrade basically those 3 actions to get even more stuff on your turn. And this is a terrible way to explain it, but it's one of those you just kind of have to see it and just look at it to play it. So that's why I'm not going super in depth. Like I knew my mom would like this, so I tried explaining it. She was just kind of like, and as she's like, it's not nearly as complicated as he makes it sound.
Haha.
But
You have
it's
a trend with Stonemaier Games in that way.
yeah, maybe it's just me. I have a feeling it's just me. So, I'm trying to think because we already heard some of your thoughts on Cindy on
Oh yeah, 'cause it's
Wingspan.
in my top 10.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go into I'll speak about my experience, and then you two can back me up with what you agree and disagree with.
All right.
So I want to do two comments here, or two types of comments here. I'm going to talk about the game, and I want to talk about the hype, because I feel like those are two different things here. Because of this, because most I'm just going to use a stereotype here. Your standard BGG user, like I've seen people call them like the BGG elite, like they're really kind of people that are in the know for board games, and they play a lot of like heavy Euro games potentially, or just like a bunch of. I feel like they probably heard the hype for this, or maybe they were fans of Stonemaier, that sort of thing, and then they got to play it, and they were like, I have no idea why this game got the hype it did. But having played it, I know exactly why it got the hype that it did. And the primary reason is because it was not made for those people. Like, this game is like your standard like BGG elite type person is not going to like this game, or it's not made for that kind of person. I'm not saying that they won't like it. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that wasn't the target demographic. I feel like the target demographic for this game was literally everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
Because what you have here is you have a very unique theme, like a theme that you really hadn't seen in a bunch of other games. And
True.
you've got they're in-depth mechanics, but they're also very simple mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got like, it's almost one of those games like we were talking earlier, where it's it's not quick. This is maybe like, I think when we played it 2-player, it's like an hour.
Yeah, I think that's about how long it takes us.
Yeah. But it still feels a little bit meatier than that, per se, especially once you start getting into the combos that you can do and really strategize. And I have not played any of the expansions. I'm talking purely base box here. Okay. And so you have that aspect. So that's a theme that, and this plays into how it got hyped up in general, is that when they went around talking about the game, before it had been kind of officially announced and the buzz started picking up, they didn't do a huge print run because they weren't sure if it was going to sell, because it was so kind of out of the norm. And then that's where you started seeing shortages.
And I think that's also part of what made it have so much hype, was because they couldn't get it. You know, so that mentality of, oh, if I can't get it, it must be really good. But no, Stonemaier just didn't expect it to do so well, so they didn't order enough.
Well, not just that, but they even, when they asked, if you read some of the blogs that Jamie put out, like, he went and asked distributors, like, this is the game we have coming out. What do you think? What are you thinking as far as numbers wise? But there's a lot of podcasts that could talk about that and a lot more detail of how we got to that point. But there's a bunch of other factors, but I feel like the hype or the rarity played into it. Like, everybody wants to say that the rarity was, like, people like to say that, like, oh, it was made rare so that it was built hype. I only feel like the rarity really only helped this game, like, only like a small percentage, you know?
Okay.
Like, the only people that rarity affected is the people that are on the borderline and they see it in stores and like, okay, I'm buying it. Like, because I can't get it. That's the only thing that hype does. But I feel like that wouldn't have made the game like the Spiel, the Spiel winner that didn't he win last year? 2019?
Yeah, it was Kinderspiel. Yeah.
Okay, Kinderspiel. That's right. Okay. But the fact of the matter is it came out, and not only that, but it came out, like, I've heard and seen stuff like bird stores carrying this game in stock.
Oh yeah, our local Wild Birds Unlimited sold it at one point.
And so
I
a little steep price, but yeah.
Well, that's when it was still also.
Yeah, I was about to say, who knows how they got it. So.
Yeah, I think maybe another thing was, like, I know that there's a big push for, women and minorities in the board gaming industry, and that's what this game is. I mean, it was an all-woman design team, and I think a couple of the designers are minority
Designers
women.
or artists?
Artists. I'm sorry, artists. And so I feel
You
like
could say
that
creators.
probably
That covers both.
sure,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. And so I feel like maybe that had something to do with it too, because people were really excited about this, unique design team
Right.
of all women.
And that kind of speaks to why it's important to get these.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you get different brain, like, by only having the same types of people design games, you only get the same types of games. It's when you get people that haven't had
diversity.
Yeah, when you get that diversity in creators, you get more diverse games. And that's where you get more broad appeal in your audience, because it's not just, generic Euro number 5.
Right, right. So the other artist, I said it was Natalie Rojas and Beth Sobel. The other one is Anna Maria Martinez.
That's right. I knew it
Jaramillo?
was like a Anna Maria or something. I knew it was similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
So-
I wanted to talk on the hype, because I do think it's kind of funny when you hear people that are kind of like, Wingspan didn't live up to my like.
Hey, it's lived up to a lot of people's expectations. It's 21 on BGG.
Wow.
Oh, it's that high.
It's
I
that
didn't know
high.
it was that.
It
I
is
didn't know it
ranked
was that high.
21.
I knew it was top 100, but I didn't realize
Yep,
it was
and
there.
its average rating or geek rating, whatever, is 8.1.
Mm.
So people really like it.
All right, so now now that we've talked that, what does Chris think about the actual game itself?
Yeah, tell us.
First of all, I will say right off the bat, I want to replace the cardboard tokens.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
The
You want the geek up bits?
Yeah, or the
or the Meeple.
I was looking at the Meeple
Meeple
Source, where they've got
Yeah.
they're basically like
The
meeples.
wooden-shaped
Yeah, the
tokens.
wooden shaped tokens instead of the
for the
cardboard.
food.
Because I like the egg
And the-
tokens, and they're wooden dice, but
Oh, I love
They're
those.
kind of chunky for wooden dice.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're wooden
So
dice,
you
but
would
you're
get-
also not using the dice as much as you're not regularly rolling them like every
Yeah.
turn kind of
Mhm.
thing.
So would you also get the pieces that replace the action cubes?
Oh, like some people have like little
They're
bird
like-
Yeah,
houses.
I've seen
house.
those. Depends. I don't
Okay.
think I need to have those. I feel like the replacing the resource cardboard. That's going to be the first
The
thing I do.
food?
Yeah, the food. But
Okay.
Mhm.
I could keep the cubes for now. That's
so
not
obviously
as big
you
of-
like it enough if you are already thinking about upgrading bits.
Well, I'm just talking when you're talking components. It's one of those when you're components. It's great. I love the birdhouse dice tower. Although
That's
dropped
so cool.
I've dropped dice so many times, reaching around to put it and drop them, they fall off the back of the table.
Oh yeah, I've
Oh,
seen a couple of people
no.
modify the birdhouse to where you're dropping from the top instead
Yeah.
of behind.
I've seen, and I've also
Oh,
seen
interesting.
some there's like a broken token birch.
They do have a
bird tower.
birdhouse.
Yeah.
I
And
think Meeple Source does too.
I think they sell the broken token one in addition to another. I think
Oh,
they sell
okay.
that one and a different one. I think there's like a 3D printed type one that's on their
Okay.
site
I
too.
remember seeing
Yeah,
it.
I was so tempted to get those things at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah,
when
I remember
was
seeing it there.
But
So
I don't mind the cardboard food tokens.
yeah, I love the artwork. Obviously, it's a beautiful game. It's a Stonemaier game. I mean, come on now. So
Yeah, he's not going to produce anything that's not beautiful.
yeah. I will say that Ashley and I have played this, we've played this a handful of times now. We've only played on the bonus rounds, the round scoring tiles. You know what I'm talking about? The little cardboard round scoring track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you only played one
Like
side?
whoever
of
has the
thing?
most of something.
We don't play that side. We play the other side that's got 0 to 5, and you just get as many points as that you've achieved.
Oh.
So fun fact about that, I didn't know that other side existed because I would always shuffle the cards and as Cindy's setting up the game, and because there's a lot of cards in the game,
Right.
and so Cindy would always put out that board and get the bonus tiles on it, and I was like, I see pictures and I'm like, wait, are people? Is there like another expansion that I don't know about? What's this other board? And someone
I
told me,
didn't
it's like, oh yeah,
realize
that's
this.
the other side. I'm like, what? What?
Well,
I
we
didn't
watched
realize you didn't know this.
Rodney's Watch It Played, and he talked about like if you want the more competitive thing, then you can play like the one that has the most, or you could do the other side. And I looked at like, and we're just both nodding like we're gonna do the less competitive side because I've
Oh,
already
that's so
talked
funny.
about being. She doesn't necessarily like it if I'm being like overly competitive and backstabby in that sort of way. But
Yeah.
we've actually really enjoyed playing this, especially because she likes that we can both play and do our, it's got like, it's what I make fun of Suburbia about, where it's like you're both kind of playing the game independently and seeing who scores the best. And you're both like not really, but not really, but in the same way. That's where she likes that aspect where it's, I'm not messing up per se her track with her aviary. She can just focus, and she doesn't necessarily have to worry about what am I doing. She can just focus on her strategy sort of thing, and I'm doing the same thing.
I think you're right. It is about the same amount of interaction because you can take a card that the other player might want, and you could also do something in Suburbia like you can in this. Like there's some between turn cards that, like if someone gets a rat food token, you can also get a rat food token,
And
stuff like
cash
that.
it on this card or whatever. Yeah.
I will also say that I've only played this at the 2-player count. We tried to get Chloe to play, but she was in the middle of doing schoolwork and stuff. But yeah, it's only been the plays I've done. It's only been just the two of us. So I can imagine it would take a little longer to do the higher player count, but
yeah, we've played it almost all. Well, I can't say exclusively a 2, but we've only had one game that wasn't 2, and that was a 3-player game.
Yeah, it still moved at a good click, but I've heard tell of 5-player games that are like 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to play
depends
this
on how
at
long
like
somebody
5
thinks.
players. I think like 3 might be 3, maybe 4 kind of thing.
3 wasn't bad.
But
I'm assuming you haven't tried the Automa yet.
No,
Okay.
No, I think that this is one of those games where it's not like I enjoy it. It's not going to be like one of my all-time favorites, but I enjoy it because it's something that me and the wife can play, me and Ashley can play together, and it's got some deep strategy in it as well. But I'm not like yearning to grab it off the table. And if I have a desire to play it, it's to say, hey, Ashley, you want to play Wingspan? Kind of like that's my only desire to pull it off the shelf is to play it with her.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if I would, pull this off just to play Automa.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love the game, I am not a solo player at all. Like, I would much rather do anything else than play a board game by myself. Well, most of the time. So I don't know that I'll ever play the Automa, actually.
Plus, also they're also coming out with a couple digital versions of Wingspan, and I could see myself playing those solo before playing the solo in the game.
The board game.
The Automa in the board game. I think there's eventually going to be a Switch version. That comes with it comes with like a discount on Steam, but I don't think it's out yet. I think it's on like pre-order or something. Yeah, so
I didn't know there was a discount for Steam if you had the game.
It could be just the version of the printing I have because it's a later printing.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So especially if you've got one of the earlier versions of the game, there may not have
mine's
been.
Second. I think mine's a second print run version.
Like for instance,
that would have sent mixed messages on how well they thought it was going to do.
You're right.
In fact, my version's the one that's got the easy start cards that you could play.
Yeah.
I did not play with those because we watched the video on how to play, and I even said, hey, there's this pack that's supposed to kind of like walk you through sort of thing. And I was like, Ashley, do you want to do that? And she's like, no, we can figure it out. It seemed simple enough. But yeah, this was one of those games that, it's kind of good when we put the game away and I'm still kind of thinking of like, what could I have done better? And in fact, because like the first 2 games we played, I just really didn't feel like I got it. Like I was playing the game, but I just felt like I was just at the whim of, I couldn't come up with any sort of strategy. I'm just kind of playing cards, that sort of thing. And I couldn't come up with any sort of overall strategy. It wasn't until the most recent play I had where it was like, okay, with the opening hand, this is how I'm going to start the game out. And I had a plan and really had like a path forward kind of guide. And that's why
I think that's similar to my experience, because I think the first game I didn't do very well at all. And then the second
You
one,
won the first game. I won the second game, and
Oh,
then
okay.
you've won every other game.
I think that might have been why I was so frustrated in the second game, because I actually went into it that kind of attitude. It's like, okay, here's what I'm doing this time.
Yeah.
And then, no.
Yeah, actually, that frustrated me a little bit because like I thought I had a plan nailed down and like I was executing that strategy, and then I was like, boom, I got these points, and then Ashley ended up beating me by like 3 points, and it was like, man, I thought I was doing well, but then when you look at my scores compared to like what we had been playing, it was still like 20 points higher than like our previous scores, whatever. And each time we've played, it's not been like a blowout. It's been like within 10 points is the difference between winner and loser.
That's nice.
Most of our scores are fairly close together.
Yeah, like
She's
that was
in the BG stats right now.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really nice is like even if you lose, if it's not like, if I end up beating Ashley, as long as I didn't like, stomp her and she sees it's like, oh, I was only 2 points away. Oh, okay, that's fine. That kind of thing. It's not like, oh, I did so horrible and you just like rock my face, which is also kind of deceiving because there was one game where like it looked like she had like a whole bunch of eggs, and I don't know if it was because some of them were white and they were blending in with the cards or something, or whatever. And then we counted it up. It was like, oh, I have like the same number of eggs that you do. Huh. Okay. It was a little deceiving until we actually got down to like final scoring.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do enjoy about that game is you kind of don't know how you're doing until you add up the scores at the end. Like you can kind of see, okay, I have a lot of eggs, I've got some cached food, I've got tucked cards, that kind of thing. But even still, you don't know what the hidden goals are, and the points on your birds. It's kind of hard to, well, at least for me, it's hard to keep track of. Okay, I've got 27 points in birds, and but you don't necessarily, I'm not constantly like adding up points in my head while we're going through the game and playing. So it's a surprise when we get to the end of the game and I'm like, oh wow, I have this many points from birds. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, my only quote unquote problem with the game is that I've not yet been able to really take full advantage of the bonus cards. I just like, usually I end up getting stuff and it's like, well, I'm not going to get either one of these, at least all the way. Which one do I think I might have a chance at?
Oh, and then your starter bonus cards?
Yeah, well, that, and then like maybe if I draw them, like, well, look, either one of these is going to be, if I spend like the next round focusing only on this, and now I'm missing out on the round bonuses or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not like, I would not play it for that. That's just the only problem in me putting together any sort of winning strategy is I'm always like, man, I can never get these. Like, I never get the high level of, there's like the 2 scores, if you get like 3 to 4, or if you get like 6+ or whatever, I never get that higher bonus number. I always like barely skirting in that lower number.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm usually so focused, like I'm planning on all the rounds. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It kind of has that sort of, I don't know. It's like in Kingdom Builder, you have multiple goals you're working toward in the game, and it's like you got to be thinking about everything at the same time. When you're in the zone, it's like, okay, this place, like I get this bird here, this can accomplish that along with my goal, and it's like a multi-tiered way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So
you can do that, but you don't necessarily have to.
Right. So like my fundamental like score wise, this would be hard. So if I were to rate this using this would be like, this wouldn't be like a favorite game, but I'd always be willing down to play the game. Like, it's a good game. Like, if I were to rate it on the BGG scale, it would probably be like an 8 or 9, because like I'd always play it, but it may not necessarily, like, I may pick some of my other favorites over the game, but I'm always, for the most part, down to play this game.
Well, that's good.
I don't know if that made sense
Cool.
at all.
Yeah. It's in the Ashley has learned this game repertoire.
Well, there's that, but it's also like a really easy and accessible game that, you know, like there's not a whole lot of setup, you know, like in the Mansions of Madness sort of thing. But, you know, that sort of, so. But it's one of those, like, but it's not just the fact that Ashley will play it. Because, like I said, I wanted to, like, my mom has a sun conure, and I don't know if it's, I thought it, so it was funny because I actually took a picture of it, because if you look on the side of the box, the bird that's on the side here looks like my mom's sun conure. And so I took a picture. I was like, hey, look, Mango's on this box. And she goes, no, that's actually called a Western Tracker or whatever. And I found out that they found the card, and I'm like, yeah, she was right. But, it's one of those, it's in that, this is like, if we were to remake that family game list, this would be on that game, on that list. Because this is like a game I want to introduce to my family. I think they would have fun playing. Like I've been every time I've been talking to my mom the past couple weeks, I've been talking about this game, and she's been interested in trying this game out. So once all this Corona stuff gets lifted, the next time I get to go down, I'm definitely going to be taking this and getting her to try the game.
Cool.
So
Matt,
oh, were you going to read Matthew's comment?
Yeah, Matt's in the chat saying it's not necessarily a game that's for him, but he definitely appreciates that it's something you can throw in front of pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
To get him up to speed real quick.
As long as I'm not the one explaining it.
I would love to teach my mom this game because I think she would really enjoy the bird aspect of it. But with my experience of teaching her games, I feel like this one would have, in her mind, would have too many rules. Because even though the game itself doesn't have rules, each of the it does have rules, but you know, it doesn't. It's a fairly simple game to explain the actual rules too. But each of the individual cards having different abilities, I feel like she would be overwhelmed with that, because that's a thing that we've encountered with her in the past. Is if there's a lot of varying
card abilities,
she gets overwhelmed.
Well, I think what helps in its favor,
I don't know. I want to teach her, but I don't know.
I think one thing that helps is that a lot of the cards are very similar in the powers. It's not like it's a whole bunch of very unique powers. It's all of them are very along the same sort of lines, and in fact, they're grouped.
Yeah, that's very true.
They're grouped that way in the rule book. But we definitely had that appendix on hand the first time we played to like.
I don't want her to set her up for failure.
Yeah.
Because I want my mom to enjoy playing games with me. And so I always feel bad if I introduce a game to her and she's like, I don't really get it. I'm not sure that I enjoy this. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I want you to have fun, you know?
Yeah, and we don't have the quick start pack, so that's not even really an option for us unless we get that.
Yeah. I think you can order it separately. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you can too.
But yeah, just to say how this game's gone in our household, like Ashley and I were talking about it, and Chloe happened to be walking by, and Ashley's like, you should really play Wingspan with this. I think you'd really like it, and start talking about like the artwork for all the birds and stuff. I'm like, I'm not even the one that's like trying to sell this game. Like Ashley's trying to sell getting Chloe to play the game. So,
I love it.
I'll definitely be. I'm interested in what the other expansions add to the game, and I know there's that the Australian one. So there's only the European out, right? And then the Australian one's coming.
It's Oceania.
Oceania, that's right. That's right.
Oceania.
I just think about Australia because they had that promotion where like the funds were going to go if you pre-order.
We're going to the Australian wildfire relief. Yeah,
that's what got me thinking about it.
But yeah, European is the only expansion actually out right now.
Gotcha.
And I mean, it adds lots of new birds and new goal cards.
And you don't take any cards out, so the stack is even bigger.
Oh my gosh,
now.
It's humongous. I mean,
Yeah,
you
we-
could take cards out.
We had that problem where so we were setting the game up and like we only did some like we don't need to I mean there's no like unique or they're all unique copies, so we don't really need to do like that much shuffling on our second game. And then we were like, we definitely should have shuffled this stack a lot more because it was a lot of like the same resource or like a lot of like very similar abilities that like we weren't getting or we weren't rolling or something.
Oh.
And it was just like,
Uh-huh.
we should have shuffled those stacks better.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that the European expansion adds is it has a end of round ability on certain birds,
Mm.
and that's pretty cool. I've actually never played with one. Like I've never added one to my.
Oh, you haven't?
I've
Wow.
never added one.
Yeah,
to
I've done
my-
it a couple times. They're pretty
habitats.
neat.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the end of round actions are pretty cool. From what
So,
I've
did I
seen with
encompass a
them.
lot, or did you guys have anything additional to add to talking about Wingspan?
I think we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah, I think we peppered in our thoughts
Mhm.
as we went.
Okay, well, everybody ready for some good stuff here?
Yes.
It's not the game show. We got Patreon to talk about. Our Patreon page over at patreon.com/boards and swords. I was looking through there trying to get caught up on things that we owe our patrons, and I realized it's been a while since I've done some puns.
It has.
So I managed to get a hold of Mike, or as he goes on to Patreon and in the chat sometimes, Hoser40K. And
Oh
I
my
had him.
goodness.
I was like, "What game do you want? What game do you want me to do?" He's like, "Well, like one of my favorite games is Arkham Horror, the card game, but I feel like I'd rather you do Castell as well from Renegade." So I was like, "Okay, I'll do that."
Ah.
So
All
here we
right.
go. If you back at $5 a month, then you get access to this thing where I make jokes specific to you. So here are 10 puns about Castell. You ready, Colin?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay, Mike, let me Castell you a story.
Buttons still aren't working.
Oh.
There we go.
He picked this game because he thought it'd be a reach of my abilities. It's not too hard if you know how to structure the jokes just right.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, it wouldn't be quite fair to prejudge me.
Wow.
There you go. What
I'm
I want
trying.
what I want to know is why he likes the game. You know, his tower defense.
Oh my gosh.
Like, am I waiting for the? I'm waiting.
It said it played that time, but it
Okay.
didn't. I don't know
right.
what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, this
I'll copy paste.
Yeah. Well, it spains me to say this. If I
I
have
accidentally hit the wrong.
if I have trouble, Colin, will you give me a hand? If I
Absolutely.
pass out, don't call an ambulance because they cost an arm and a leg.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, afterwards, that's a heck of a build to get.
That was like,
And lastly, oh, by the way, if you're not hearing Oscar during all of this, that's because I'm leaving the Catalona.
oh my gosh.
Boom.
Oh my gosh.
I kind of like that Catalona.
Oh, I thought of that and I was like, oh, this is perfect. That's why it was last.
That was funny. Those were good, Chris.
So there you go. I've already got a couple people that responded today and managed to get me some. So we'll have a couple more of these. And yeah, if you want to shout out and speaking of which, I got 2 new shout outs to talk about here. So thanks to Jessica and Lance as of like yesterday or the day before. Their new owner or their new patrons as well. So we'll be getting some new
Sweet.
content. We're working through the list of all the stuff. In fact, I'm already starting to think up dice stuff for this year's dice stuff. And with that, it's time for a game show.
Awesome. Or
Take it
not.
away.
So this is where Cindy would be doing the game show because it was her next in line, but
Sorry.
she ended up giving
I
it.
just could not come up with an idea.
Yeah.
Well, I came up with an idea at like 3:30 today, and it's going to take way more time to execute than, the couple hours I had.
Well,
So I decided to pass it off to Chris, and I'm going to take next week or next time.
well, actually, she passed it off to Colin, who then had a game planned that he was hoping Philip would be here for, so we scrambled at the last moment, and now we've got me hosting the Rank is Right. So,
Yay, the rank is right.
because all it takes is for me hitting a random game enough until I actually get a game that has a rank. Oh, and I need
Yay,
coins.
Rank is right.
So, what we're going to do here is, if you're new here and you don't know what this is I've gone on BGG, BoardGameGeek.com, and I have spun the wheel. And by that, I mean I've clicked the random game button until I have a game that has an overall BGG rank. And what these people are trying to do is I'm going to describe the game, and they're going to tell me the right number of the rank without going. Let's try and explain this the right.
Without saying too good a number.
We don't want to be. We want to be further away from one.
Yeah. Closest without going too high.
Yes.
Of a
Without
number.
going too close to one.
Yep. So there you go.
Yeah, I said it backwards.
Well, your guess doesn't want to be too high.
Yeah.
There you go.
It makes sense.
So if it's ranked 82, we want to say something that is a bigger number.
83
than
or
82.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or 82.
Well, yes, of course.
No.
So here we go. Are you ready? And the
Yes.
ratings I'm going to be giving, these are the average ratings. These are not the geek ratings, because I found that those give it away too much.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So the first one we have is a Lego game, actually. It's called Heroica Dradia.
Okay.
It was made in 2011. It has 409 ratings on BGG with a rank of a 5.9 as an average rating. Lego's Heroica series represents a classic dungeon game. The players move through tunnels, collecting treasure and fighting enemies. Conflict is resolved by dice rolls. The die result could be a number or a symbol, which might allow the player to use special weapons. Instead of a character sheet, the players have equipment backpacks, which can be filled with weapons, potions, keys, etc. This actually sounds like a decent game. Like, I'm kind of like, all right. But like I said, wait 1.48, it's a 5 to 10 minute playing time. It's a 2-player game. It looks like it's a tiny box. So
It's one of those like 25-piece sets for Lego.
yeah, probably. In the children's category, it is ranked 222. So Colin, what is its overall BGG rank?
You got the 222 in there. Okay, as you said, it's like 400 something ratings at 5.9.
Correct. 409 at 5.9.
Okay. 222 in children's games. I will go with I'll say 9,900.
9,900. So 9900.
I was actually going to say an even 10,000 before he said his number, so I'm going with an even 10,000.
Even
And I'm guessing that we are
10,000.
both too high.
Well, that's all right, because too high works in this case.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So the average, or the actual BGG rank for this game is 7,502.
Oh, so Colin gets
So
it.
Colin gets the point. So
Awesome.
that's 1 point for Colin. And in the chat room, if you haven't tuned out by this point, you can still throw in your guesses there. And we'll give chat point too. On to our next game.
Yeah, it could be the Price is Right kind of crowd.
Yeah. Throw in names. So the next game we have is Warband Against the Darkness. This is a 2015 game with 246 ratings at a 6.7 rating. And the strategy category is 1,529.
Oh,
2.67 on the weight category. Since the dawn of their civilizations, the great races of the 5 realms of Koldrum, Shennaru, and
Are these just names?
Yeah.
There's a lot of umlauts in there.
have been engaged in complex relations with each other, allying and arguing, merging and dividing, loving and hating, as they schemed and plotted to gain the upper hand. Then the darkness came. blah, 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 blah. You control the warband armies as one as the great fantasy races of the 5 realms. It's perfectly balanced in the design space between Euro and Amera-style gameplay, combining strategic depth with an evocative fantasy theme and tense player combat. Or conflict.
Said that was some nice intensity on there.
Perfectly balanced. Okay.
2 to 5 players, 6.7 average rating. Collin, you won, so you're going again. What is the overall rank of this game?
What was the strategy ranking again?
1,529.
I will go. I'm gonna say. I'll go 4,400.
4,400. I'm sensing a pattern.
6,230.
6,230.
Yes.
The actual BGG rank is 4,834.
Oh.
Yay!
Which means Cindy gets the point on that one.
Went over or under, but I still got it.
All right. Next up, we have actually, since Philip's, I'm going to skip that. We're going to do we'll do 4 this time. All right. Next one is a game I believe just came out, and that is Eclipse: Second Dawn for the Galaxy, the second edition of Eclipse.
Oh yeah.
8.8 average rating, 504 ratings, 2 to 6 players, weight of 3.24 out of 5. It places you in control of a vast interstellar civilization competing for success with its rivals. You explore new star systems, research technologies, and build spaceships with which to wage war. It's a revised, upgraded version of the Eclipse base game that debuted in 2011. In the strategy category, it has a 696 ranking. Cindy, what is the overall rank of Eclipse: Second Dawn for the Galaxy?
So the last one was strategy also, and
Correct.
it was in the thousands.
Correct.
And this one's 6 something.
Correct. 696.
I am going to say this is ranked at 1,500. So 1,500.
All right. 1,500. Collin.
I will go with. I'll say 1,490.
1,490.
I gave a little bit of window there.
The actual rating is. You're both too high. Like you
We're both too close to 1.
You're both too big of a rank or too high of a rating.
Okay.
So back to you, Cindy.
2,200.
2,200. All right, Collin.
I will go with I'll go 1908.
1908. The actual rating is 1,542. So Collin gets the
I
point.
was so close the
So
first
close.
time.
You were just. It was too.
That one.
Yeah. All right. So we've got a 2-1 right now. So we'll make this one worth 2 points.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So I can still win.
Yep. And this last one is Bushido in 2011. It has an 8.3 rank, no secondary category, 56 ratings, and a weight of 3.56. 2-player game. Bushido is an Oriental fantasy tabletop miniature battle game for 2 players. Each player commands a force of no more than a handful of individuals represented by 32mm metal miniatures. That should tell you something, is that they're getting technical on the type of miniatures they are. These forces meet on the battlefield, and the commanders, the players that is, try to outwit, outfight, and outlive the opposing force and fulfill their battle objectives. There is a second edition version of this game, but I'm talking about the actual original edition that came out in 2011. Collin, Bushido, 8.3, 56 ratings. What is the actual BGG rank?
Only 56. So I'm gonna say that number is a little skewed for the people that like the miniatures, maybe. So I'm gonna say, oh boy, 8,002.
8002.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Cindy.
Oh gosh. I could be really mean and just say 8003.
No, you want to say 8,001.
Well, it depends.
Well, what if I think that it's higher than 8003? Like, I think it's further away from 1 than 8002. I mean,
Then you want to say a much bigger number.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if it's not 8,003, then it's not going to be you. The net of numbers that are good for me are all the way down to 1 right now.
oh, I see. Okay. 10,000.
10,000.
I was thinking that was a good number.
The actual rank is 8,401.
Oh,
That means I win.
That means Cindy wins.
Congrats.
I thought it was high. What did you say?
8,000.
8,002.
He went 8002. It was 8401.
Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be higher than that. Or like further away from 1
Yeah.
than what he guessed.
I was surprised he
So-
nailed that. It was he was in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about getting in the ballpark.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting the home plate is my problem.
Yeah. Now, actually, Collin, the next bit I'm about to say, you may want to clip out and put towards the beginning of the episode in case people have tuned out
Okay.
by this point. But we got a piece of news here is that we're actually not going to be a part of the Dice Tower Network anymore, and that we are switching over to becoming a part of the Punchboard Media, the same group that the Dirtbags is a part of. I love the community that is established over there, and they're really trying to help grow it, and I'm all for helping out their goals and creating that group. So we're going to be moving over to that, and the reason I bring it up is that if you're listening to the show via the Dice Tower Network feed, you're going to need to unsubscribe and subscribe to either there's a Punchboard Media feed, or you can just, your best chance is to subscribe directly to the show. Then that is because otherwise, if you're only listening to us through the Dice Tower Network feed, after a couple of weeks, you're not going to be able to get the show, and we don't want to see you leave. So we'll close our eyes.
No, we don't want to lose you.
Nothing.
What?
Sorry,
said-
Cindy kind of talked over you.
I
a little
said
I
we don't
did.
want to see you leave, so we'll close our eyes.
bit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm blaming the distance on all of this. It's hard to tell jokes like this
sorry.
over. I need people
I'm
to like.
I'm gonna play you off.
Yeah,
I
go for it.
interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
Actually, wait, we're cutting that out and putting that at the beginning.
Yeah. All right, let's roll us out of here. So that wraps up this week's episode. If you want to watch the show live, I had somebody ask me, hey, when's the next time you're going to be live? I tuned in once and I want to tune in again. Every other Wednesday, boardsandswords.com/live has the schedule and the links to wherever you can find our live streaming channels. If you like this show, you should also visit boardsandswords.com. I've been slowly putting out some articles back on the show, or back on the site, some blog post articles, and we also have our other show, The Dirtbags of Holding, where eventually we'll come back and play RPGs again in the worst way possible.
Yeah, and so if you do like us, you can email us your comments and questions at feedback@boardsandswords.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at boardsandswords Boards and Swords Pod, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Boards and Swords Pod. And you should also follow our individual accounts. I'm Cindy Pastorius on Twitter and Instagram.
I am Coldcakes196 on Twitter and Instagram.
I changed mine. I'm no
That's
longer
right.
Chris the Prof. I'm Chris Isn't Bored, but bored as in BOARD on Twitter and Instagram. I thought I'd change it up after 10 years and do something that tied into the show. So yeah, Chris Isn't Bored on Twitter and Instagram.
So we are also now part of the Punchboard Media. So you can go to punchboardmedia.com to find a bunch of other great board game and RPG, all kinds of gaming related podcasts at Punchboard Media.
All right, and once again, thank you for listening. Until the next time, remember patreon.com/boards and swords to help support the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another great episode. And remember that every gamer has a story. And I'm not bored because I'm a sword. Get it? Chris isn't bored.
Oh, because it's joke.
Hey, Cindy actually got that joke when I posted it.
I did.
All right, I need people that are listening. If, like, when this comes out, I need people to, like, tweet me or whatever and let me know if they actually thought the jokes were funny. Because between the distance and having to explain them.
I'm sorry.
I'm not blaming you.
I
I'm just
can't
saying
help it.
it's not the best situation for comedy.
I know. Well, and it's hard when a lot of the stuff you're talking about isn't necessarily stuff that pertains to me.
What is
Good night, everybody.
What is Warhammer 40K?
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
I would have thought you at least had a passing knowledge, like seen a box and like, oh look, there's space guys.
You've talked about it before, but if you saw her face, like whenever you talk about it, it's kind of like if you talk about sports statistics.
Yeah.
Like that same kind of look you expect someone who's just not interested.
See, yeah, like I wasn't expecting you to know the mechanics in the gameplay, but I thought at least you might know like the theme.
Nope. I knew nothing about it. I'm sorry. I just knew it was miniatures. That's it.
I actually
I know it's space themed, but I'll probably forget that
when
too.
you're going back and editing, you should just you should find a cricket noise to put in there.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
That's
just
the
record
best.
our back deck.
Yeah, just put a cricket noise in there for after every one of those jokes.
Yeah, we have the beautiful cricket choir. Cricket.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Choir.
We have
outside
it.
of
We
our
have it too
back
since we
pond.
got a bunch of trees and stuff.
Oh yeah, true.
All right. Thanks for watching, chat room. Glad to see you participating. We will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.